basically tip well is kind of, I think, the moral of this movie.
And be friendly. Don't be mean. Like,
It's right.
don't be a bad person.
Exactly.
This is your spoiler warning.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to
Hi.
Film Club. I'm Josh.
I'm Katie.
And today we are watching The Menu. Stars Ralph Fiennes,
Voldemort.
Anya Taylor-Joy,
Queen's Gambit.
Nicholas Hoult.
Beast.
Beast.
Right?
Yes. So he was the zombie in Warm Bodies. Kind of fun.
Oh, that was a fun one.
When the first trailer for this movie, it looked like a thriller mixed with a dark comedy.
But kind of intriguing.
I will say I was disappointed when I saw follow-up trailers. I feel like it kind of gave it all away. Katie, your thoughts?
Wild ride. Not what I was expecting, but I didn't really know what to expect because I don't really do thriller horror. There were definitely eye-covering moments. You just like see him become a little more unhinged the whole time.
Him being...
Ralph Fiennes, Voldy, whatever. I mean, the acting was tremendous. Like, he does an incredible job. There are moments where you can, like, see the compassion in his face, but then, like, there's something not right. His mom's just in the corner drinking the whole time. Like,
He was, like, obviously insane.
and was just like, you all are beyond redemption, which
Yeah.
I don't think was true.
What parts did you like the most about the movie?
I appreciated that they had a text overlay with the names of the dishes. If you were to watch a food show mixed with a horror movie, I don't watch a lot of them.
The base story of every horror film is generally you're stuck in a house with a monster. The goal of the hero is to escape. The goal of the monster is to eat the hero. Every horror film, once you break it down to its bones, that's what it is. Like
Well, I would say this fits that.
Right, but then they mix in some dark comedy. And I mean, like, the dude blows his brains out, and Nicholas Holt's like, oh, that was shocking. And he's like, all game for it. And then actually, you get pretty disgusted with him at the end because you're just, well, toward his end, because you're just like, he knew this whole time that
What
they
was
were
gonna
all going to die.
happen.
He knew.
Yeah.
He knew. Like, that is, if anything, he's more of a monster because he could have prevented this. He is the worst.
Yeah.
He is the worst.
I'd be like, no thank you. I don't want to go to your restaurant that bad.
Let's talk about our hero.
Our hero.
Our hero, the escort, as we find out. Anya Taylor-Joy was.
She went by Margot.
And she was something else. Her name was something
It was
else.
really like Emily. They say
Right.
regularly she was not intended to be there. So she definitely threw a wrench into their plans.
Yeah, I mean, looking back when they first announced her, the hostess stand on the dock, and you see that lady's face shift, there's a little bit of, throwing off our plans, but also like a little bit of guilt. I think it was more frustration that Chef's plans have been thrown off now. By the way, I want a cheeseburger now because that looked delicious.
That cheeseburger looked really good.
It did. We're getting a cheeseburger.
I liked how she escaped. I liked how she brought it around and was just like, no, I'm not playing your version of restaurant. I am going to have my general experience as a restaurant goer. And if I don't like this, I'm going to send it back and I'm not leaving hungry. And I thought it was cute how she asked for a to-go bag. And that's ultimately how she was free to leave. I mean, he did say, like, none of you tried hard enough. Like, you probably could have gotten away.
That was him alluding to, I think, saying on some level you wanted to be here. You wanted to stay. I mean, it's a movie, so I'll give it a pass, but no, I mean, survival instinct, no one in their right mind is going to stay there.
Kind of curious, like, how did he get his whole staff to go along with that? Because that's like,
I mean, it was a cult. It was basically a cult.
I mean, it
They're isolated
definitely
on an
gave
island.
me like those kind of vibes. They're isolated. They're sleeping in like this bunkhouse all together.
They all share an open
They all
toilet.
share an open toilet. No walls. No walls. It would not be my ideal work environment in any way, shape, or form, or dining experience. I wanted the bread to come back around.
Yes.
I wanted him to give her the bread at the end, or like somehow I wanted her to end up getting it because apparently the bread was like, they were famous for it, right? And then he's like, you don't get any bread, and they're all like, oh no bread for us. And some of them kind of went with it. And we're like, oh, these dipping things for the bread are so good. She was like, no, I'm not eating a bunch of condiments on their own. She's like, no, I'm not.
Well, she even called it. She was like, he's insulting you. And then like Nicholas Holt's you're like, no, you just don't get it.
You just don't get it. It's part of the menu. And like at first, like even when the first guy killed himself, some of the guests were like, oh, it's part of the menu. It's like an act. It's a performance. No, I don't think that
he was like, the acting is amazing. He's like, what the f*** are you talking about, dude? Like the dude, for its black comedy subgenre kind of crossover, it relied heavily on Nicholas Hoult, and I think he did a pretty good job. You would have these really tense thriller-like moments, and then he would break it. And sometimes it was welcome. Sometimes you're kind of like, well, that didn't really land, but okay.
The guests that were intended to be there basically represented tropes of restaurant goers.
So you had like the critics.
You had the critics.
Oh my gosh, I hated them so much at the beginning. That's the thing. You don't root for anyone else except for Anya Taylor-Joy's character because she's not supposed to be there. Everyone else clearly is guilty, has done something bad, wronged someone, been selfish. You just don't feel bad for them.
I mean, I feel bad for all of them. Like, you don't go to a restaurant expecting expecting to become dessert, expecting to become a s'more with a marshmallow cape and a chocolate cup hat. I mean, clever costume design from that perspective.
From
making like a little cape o marshmallows.
Cape o marshmallow.
The staff weren't part of dessert. Like, what were they supposed to be? They were around the keg, so they were what, like the
Well, they were all
the
ingredients,
beer?
right? Like it all said.
I just don't get it. How you get like a whole staff like that? Like, clearly there was like a cult aspect or something, because
Right.
that's a lot of people to get to just be like, oh, okay, this sounds like a great idea. And the one girl was like, oh yeah, the everyone dying part, that was my idea. I'm kind of proud of it. When
like,
the critic
yeah.
was like, oh, I could get you your own restaurant. Oh, well, this was my idea.
Upon first viewing, and only a first viewing, I didn't really see anything that visually overly substantial about the visual language and cinematography of the film. I felt it was very follow the guide in terms of like, there's an intense moment, do a close up. It all looked natural and clean, crisp. Just nothing jumped out to me about it.
For me, it followed like a food show. You know, the close-ups of the dish for each course, and then they had like kind of some stuff around it to help set the mood, right, as they zoomed in on it.
Right.
I've seen that quite a bit in food shows.
You're a musician. Did the music stand out to you at all?
Not really. It was good background music, I guess, but it nothing stood out to me like, oh, this is great. I'm gonna listen to this more. I'm gonna go home and listen to the soundtrack.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not that kind of
right.
film, I don't think.
In summary, I would say this film is a solid thriller. I wouldn't so much call it horror, but I guess you could. I think it leans closer to thriller, and it has a subgenre of dark comedy that sometimes the dark comedy bits land, sometimes they don't. Overall, I think it's a really good film. If you like thrillers in general, I think you would like this. What do you think, honey? Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you like the main actors, right? Like the actors did an incredible job. I think they sold their parts well. Even if you don't like the character, I think you weren't supposed to like that character then. So yeah, it'll make you think.
He very blatantly. It can spur some quality discussion amongst your film and movie-going group. This character in particular, Ralph Fiennes' character, views people as givers and takers. And obviously, he brought what he viewed as the worst of the takers there. In reality, people are both givers and takers. That's just kind of how our world functions. You give, you take, right? Purchase
Depends
something.
on the situation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, yeah. If you're just in the mood for a thriller or a horror, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. It
also
is
a reminder to be nice to your servers and chefs.
That's true. Basically, tip well is kind of, I think, the moral of this movie.
And be friendly. Don't be mean. Like,
it's right.
Don't be a bad person.
Exactly. Well, guys, I think that's it. Like, subscribe, all that fun stuff.
Let us know any recommendations of movies you would like to see reviewed.
Next week, obviously, I chose this one. Katie is going to choose something else.
Perhaps of rom-coms. Bye.
Yes, chef!